Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. Well, it has been a little while since my last upload. I have a litany of quite believable excuses. I've been sick, my voice has sounded terrible, my computer was overheating terribly. Luckily, most of these problems have been resolved. My voice is still a little altered, but it's I'm on the mend. Everything should be fine. But I thought I'd throw up a quick video just because I haven't uploaded one in so long. I've been playing a new conjurer, and where is he? I've had quite a few of these, and I've always been reluctant to do it before because I always considered him a bit of a split class character. But here we have Swoof, the air elementalist. And I must say I'm having a lot of fun with playing an air elementalist. He's got a nice shield there. These spells are a lot of fun. Especially summoning air elementalists is fantastic. They're fast, they hit hard, they're incredibly useful companions. They can fly. You can shoot your electricity and your bolts right through them. They don't mind that at all. Airstrike is actually a really good spell. I was always reluctant to use it before, but it has smite targeting. You can move it anywhere that you can see. You can airstrike. It works beautifully against flying creatures. And let me remind you that all demons are flying creatures. Airstrike takes down demons beautifully. It's also, I believe, I'm not sure what sort of damage it is, but it's not elemental damage. I don't think. How do we see it here? This spell causes the air around a creature to twist itself into a whirling vortex of meteorological fury. It doesn't say what sort of damage it is, but it works on creatures like sky beasts who are resistant to electricity. Probably my favorite, though, is Summon Lightning Spire, which is a new spell. That's just a lot of fun. You can just slap it up there and it shoots lightning bolts. It shoots lightning bolts all over the place. The air elementalists sort of disappear once in a while and reform themselves, but anything around you, the lightning spire will start cranking out bolts of electricity. So it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying playing this this sort of character, or this sort of build. Unfortunately, getting it started is quite difficult. And the key to that is Static Discharge, which is actually a pretty good spell. Think of it like Freeze, but a level 3 air spell that affects multiple enemies. So it's not bad. When it is weak, it's like Stone Arrow or any of the level 3 spells. It's pretty ineffective, but once you start to get it to be fairly strong, it's actually a fantastic spell. However, Swiftness is more or less useless now. I wouldn't say it's more or less useless, but it's certainly a lot less useful. I don't even mind that it slows you down after a certain number of steps. That doesn't bother me too much. Let's just see, we're actually quite swift for quite a while here. And now we're not. What gets me is the consistency. I never know how long I'm going to be swift for. And not knowing that, maybe you're swifter a little longer if your power is up. I imagine, I don't see why it wouldn't work like that. It should. I haven't had occasion to use it being a higher level here. But when you're trying to escape monsters and you employ swiftness, you have to be a little... It will affect your decision making in which way to run away, knowing how long you're going to be swift for. You can take a higher chance short solution, or a longer solution that offers more that will ensure you'll get away. but not knowing if your swiftness is going to run out, it makes it a pretty hard spell to use. Nevertheless, let's give it a try. So we'll start up an air elementalist. As you can see, I've cleaned up my desktop quite a bit. Okay, not Swoof, we'll name him, and of course I didn't think of a name before I started. How about, Rental? Nah, I don't like it. How about Ozymandias? And we're going to go with a high elf. I think probably high elves. Tengus are a decent air elementalist. I'm going with high elf because I want the intelligence. They're a little more fragile, but they do have a +2 to air and a +1 to spellcasting, and also conjurations is going to be important. A Tengu would make a very good air elementalist, but it's the intelligence that concerns me a little bit. They are tougher, and they can fly. A Tengu would be good, actually, but I'm going to go with the high elf. I think it's harder to start the high elf, so I'd rather demonstrate that. Plus, I like elves. So let's go for high elf air elementalist. Now the first thing we have to do here is turn off everything, and I mean everything, except conjurations. We are dependent on this shock spell at the moment. And when you start off, it is very weak. So we have to look for zappable moments. Okay, well, that was optimal. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, he sees me now. I don't know who else is going to come, who's behind him. The best thing to do is just back off a little bit and take them on one at a time until you're assured of your power. It's not that hard to get through the first level or two as an air elementalist. Where it starts to get hard is we need a weapon pretty quickly. Here I am scared of a rat. Where it starts to get a little difficult is poison javelins. We'll get those. It's about on level 3, where you have your first orc packs you run into there, and is it cursed? Yes, it is. And you'll run into your first unique Sigmund and the like. So the first 2 levels is pretty easy. That's why we crank the first 2 levels of the dungeon all into conjurations. We are not memorizing anything at level 2. As you can see, we just leveled up. Our first spell is going to be Static Discharge at level 3. So we're holding on till there. We're not going to bother with spell casting until, I want to say almost until Lightning Bolt is castable. Lightning Bolt's a very good spell, but it's not quite as reliable as the other bolt spells. So far this is pretty routine. Okay, we got poison there, but we should be okay. Poison dart, I'm not going to bother picking that up. We'll zap him. I think that counts as a double zap. And now we'll poison javelin him. There we go. We are now at level 3. We're going to increase strength and hope for a point of intelligence, which we got, and memorize Static Discharge. Now we're faced with a choice. We can memorize nothing and hold out for Lightning Bolt at level 5. We will have the spell levels for that. Or we can memorize a utility spell and make use of that. Both repel missiles and swiftness will save your life. I usually opt for swiftness because you generally don't run into something you really have to repel until Lightning Bolt is at least castable, and you can start training your spellcasting. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm just going to hold out for a little while now, and we'll see what level 3 of the dungeon looks like when we get there. We'll employ a double zap here. Now Crawl's dumbed down a little bit. It shows you where your bolts will go. This isn't working very well. He's got high evade, that's why. I'd like to poison him too. The javelin ended up doing the job there. Okay, Jessica's still asleep, so let's just avoid her for now. Get our mana back, and there's a book, which might come in very handy. So I think we should be alright to kill Jessica. Might be worthwhile hitting her with a javelin first and hoping we can poison her. That didn't work. She's hasted herself, and we javelined her. Javelined. A Handbook of Curses. Sureblade. That actually might come in handy. But we need hexes, and I'm not willing to train that at the moment. So we'll just continue on. I'd like to get this build started sort of as a pure air elementalist, just to demonstrate how it's done. We employed our double zap on the ooze there. I could have kited him a little bit, but I wasn't too worried. So I'm going to be reluctant to memorize any other spells until we get this book sorted out more or less. Haven't been too lucky on the scrolls yet. Let's try that. It is identify. We'll identify this ring. Poison resistance is useful, so we'll keep it. And our shock is up to 3 pips, not quite at 4. When shock's at full power, it's actually not bad. I always assumed it did less damage than Magic Dart, and it certainly does in the beginning of the game. But really, once it's up to a full strength, it's pretty powerful. Terrence. This is where I might want swiftness. How's static discharge? 3 pips. Okay. I'm going to stay at max range here. He's seen me already. See if we can hit him with a javelin. Ooh. The javelins are doing excellent work. There we go. He's almost dead. He's almost dead. I'm going to hit static discharge. I have full mana, and 1 shot should kill him. We'll pick up the falchion there. If there is a weapon I'm going to train, it will be long blades, because of the aptitude the high elf has for it. Also short blades, and they transition well with each other, so there's nothing wrong with training up a little bit of short blades. Now here we are on dungeon level 3. Now I think the reason why I didn't really use the swiftness is because I have these javelins, so it's given me another option. But it might not be enough at this level. Orc packs are the first things you have to be very, very concerned about. Let's see if we can javelin them up. There we go. 1 more would be nice. Excellent. And that's level 5. Okay. So we can almost get Lightning Bolt now. Conjurations is at 5. And Shock is still not up to 4 pips. So we'll continue just training Conjurations. At this level, it might be wise to watch out for your auto-traveling. You don't want to be surrounded by orcs. We'll zap him. Step closer, I guess, just so we can get some more zaps in on him. And we'll retreat at the first sign of danger. Luckily he missed me. Let's try this robe on. Nothing. Okay, here's another thing you can do with zapping, or with your shock spell. I'll shout, I'll draw them all, and you can shoot through all of them and damage all of them, which is quite nice. You can also do that with lightning bolt, of course, and that sort of makes up for the weakness of the spell. Okay, here's a pack of enemies. We don't want to face them all, but we would like to draw them into one of those nice corridors. I don't think anything else is around, so let's just make sure we get all their attention and shout. One of them has a wand, and let's just start zapping them. There we go. And we ended up using very little mana through that entire fight. So I think I've gotten this far in the game now, only using static discharge, or only using zap. I think I used static discharge once. Let's try this ring on. +2 ring of intelligence, that will be useful for now. And next level we'll be able to memorize lightning bolt. Next level is not that close. I'm going to put on spellcasting. We need a few more. We need a few more spell levels. Okay, it's orc time. Let's just trade carefully. And here's where swiftness comes in useful, getting away from these guys. I'm going to hope the javelin hits him. It does. Now I'm going to retreat as much as possible. There are two choices you have, retreat or charge. I'll javelin him again. He could take me out in 2 smites, unfortunately. Now I'm going to charge. And hit static discharge. There we go. They're throwing my javelins back at me. I'll pick one up. Got the orc with him. Let's see if we can get the sorcerer. There we go. Very useful, these javelins. And thank God he threw it back at me and missed. Let's read some of our scrolls. Move curse. Now we can drop this dagger and use our falchion here. Another reason why we don't need swiftness now is we have a wand of hasting, and that will come in very useful. I always make this mistake. Don't do it. Try to remember, before you identify your scrolls, please identify your wands, because I waste so many of these recharging scrolls. And always, of course, recharge your best wands. In this case, it's going to be hasting, of course. Let's just drop the wand of slowing and continue on. Oh, I have a clear shot at him. We'll see if we can get him with a javelin. Good. Another one. Another one. And now we're going to cast static discharge. You won't see anything, but this is how I'm going to take him out. Oops, I didn't waste a turn, did I? Alright, static discharge. So we have arced the lightning from Mustachio to the giant gecko and the rat. It hit all 3 of them. even though they're staggered like that. Kill 2 of them, and 1 more static discharge will take them out. There we go. We're at level 6, and we can start raising intelligence. Let's just pick up this leather armor. That's bound to be better than the robe we're using. And we have something to eat. Do a quick search for hats or helmets. I don't think I missed one, but just in case. And this cutlass I don't think we're going to need. We'll stick with our long blade. That'll save us some spell levels. Long blades used to be fairly rare in the early parts of the dungeon. Now they're a lot more common. I don't know if we're going to train it at all or become a pure caster. We'll just make that decision as we go. Any saps I can get in on them? Nope. Not that I really need to. Okay, looks like that's level 4. Down we go to level 5. Difficult. Let's see if we can get him into a zappable position. That's going to hit us. Not that I really mind too much. Ow! We lost 2 potions. Let's static discharge now. That should kill him. There we go. And we should be able to memorize lightning bolts. And now swiftness and repel missiles. So now we have our full complement of spells. Flight we can always get later. Oh. For some reason swiftness did not memorize. Let's try that again. We're still going to leave charms off. Now we're going to train up air a little bit. And just wait till we get our lightning bolt castable. Level 7. I could actually even, and I might turn off spell casting. Let's let it get up to 5. Now in that situation I used shock until the worker ant got right up to me, and then I hit static discharge. And that tends to work very well actually. You damage them with shock and then static discharge when they're in melee range. Now, like fire elementalists that have a tremendously hard time with red imps, the air elementalist likewise has its nemesis. And that is the sky beast. Speaking of red imps, there we go. So that's something that you should watch out for. Static discharge, ow, static discharge. Did we lose anything in our armor? No. But at this point we've started to get fairly powerful. And I feel like this has been a little easy compared to most runs you run into, because you're going to hit a lot more in the way of orc packs usually. We only had 1 orc pack to deal with there. Ew. Static discharge, there we go. We really need to start training up some form of defense. Right now our defense is repel missiles and swiftness, and speaking of which, let's just cast repel missiles now. Okay. We're going to put 1 more level of training into these spells, or into our offense spells. Static discharge, static discharge, static discharge. There we go. And by level I mean level of the dungeon. Let's drag him up and static discharge him. And that's quite a nice sword, we'll get that. If you have limited sword training, it's probably better to use the falchion. Even with no sword training, it's probably better to use the falchion actually. I'm going to buy that scroll. It's only 17, and you never know if it's a scroll of acquirement or not. It is not. And there's teleportation. And there's an artifact hand axe. Interesting. We're going to target the jelly first, of course. We don't have anything really worth saving in terms of armor or even weapons. That's alright. We'll stick with the axe. Drop the long sword for now. We'll drop both swords. They're going to be common enough. Here's another one. And we can always come back for it if we wish to train up long swords now. This hand axe is giving us +1, +2, which isn't great, and our aptitude for axes, I believe, is -2. But it's flame, and it's giving us +2 strength and +1 dex. It's a nice plate armor. Those gloves are a little expensive, as is that helmet. I'm tempted to buy them, though. The +2 robe. What we will buy is the cursed buckler. As far as defense training goes, if you're a high elf at least, a buckler is probably your best bet, even before you train dodging. At least I've found. Now with lightning bolt at 17%, I'd like to get it down to 10, and then we will turn our attention to defense. And as you can see, Shock is doing some good work there. Here we are in the temple. There's Veomet, so at least we have one magic god here. And I think I'll choose Cif Muna for this run. Veomet would be good. He would give us a wizardry bonus. But I'll choose Cif for the channeling and the ability to change up my spells. It's the harder option. But I really enjoy Cif Muna. And she might train a little slower. It's also going to force me to use my air spells for longer. But as long as Lightning Bolt gets good and castable... Ow, I forgot he's not going to come closer. I'm lucky I didn't get drained there. Hill Giants. I don't think zapping is going to take care of him too easily. Luckily we can kite him. There we go. Air magic is up, lightning bolt's down to 14. Let's risk a lightning bolt here. Okay, we got him. Ow. Static discharge. Again, if he hits me again, I'm dead. Okay. We got him. Let's just back off. That was some bad luck there. But not really, because I haven't tried any dodging. I didn't need to let him get that close, though. He was sleeping when I first saw him. So it was my fault. As you can see, they're not too much trouble. If a +2 shield, that's for later. A pair of boots would be nice. Robe of resistance would be very nice. Let's pick up the boots. just for a little bit of extra armor class. Okay, we finished him off with a static discharge. And the fog helped shield us from any spells he might have cast. Static discharge, static discharge. There we go. It's too bad there are no little graphics associated with static discharge, or airstrike for that matter. Again, static discharge there. And speaking of which, I have played Trunk for 0.115 or 0.15, and I don't know what to say. I'm a little mortified by it. I don't want to go into too many details now. Some changes I really like. I think I'll elucidate this more on another video. Some changes I like, but in many ways playing it does not feel like playing Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup to me anymore. I mean, I'm sure I might get used to it. Cursed Ring of Teleportation. Before we use our Remove Curse, let's put on our Buckler. Yes. And we can remove all the curses at once. And now it's time, I believe, to train up shields a little bit. So let's drop conjurations and spellcasting even, and just continue to train up our air magic. I'd like to train shields and dodging, but we won't do that. Not yet. Let's just get shields up to... I'm glad I bought the boots and not the gloves. There we go. Let's get shield up to 5, so our buckler is not hampering our spellcasting anymore. And we have a Book of Callings, and that means we have summoned Lightning Spire. It's a fairly common spell to run into, but I'm very glad I found it, because it's easier to cast than Lightning Bolt, and it's more or less just as good. Summon Guardian Golem I have fooled around with, and maybe somebody can help me here, but I have no idea what it does. The Golem seems fairly useless. It's supposed to tank your damage for you. It's a hard thing to play around with, taking damage intentionally to see what the Guardian Golem does. But what I've noticed is I haven't found him too useful. I'm sure he is, but I don't know in which situation to use him. So of course we're going to get Summon Lightning Spire. Let's memorize that up. Excellent. This is going to be a very useful spell. We are going to train summonings, of course. And I'm going to go even so far as to take off the buckler. Take off the buckler, please. And cease trading shields. I'll put a little bit into dodging. I want my air magic up to 7. We'll focus on summonings. And continue on. Air magic's at 7. Let's turn it off. And just pour everything into summonings until it gets to about level 5 or so. Excellent. The intelligence up again. Our dexterity's up to 18 now, which is going to help greatly with dodging once we start training it. This is getting a little dangerous. We desperately need some defense. Ooh, it's you, Branch. Let's see if we can quietly duck out of the way here. He's a wizard. Let's just get out of here. Alright, down we go. Let's take a look at him. Excellent. He is not immune to lightning. So let's get our lightning spire up there, which is actually fairly castable. Not bad. He probably will mephitic cloud us, but let's, there we go. I am wearing poison resistance. No, let's just put that on and get rid of the cursed ring of teleportation, which we are, for some reason, still wearing. And there we go. Excellent work, Lightning Spire. It's fantastic because it saves mana as well. It's just... I was lucky to find it, actually. So early in the game. But it's just going to make the run that much easier. And that much more fun, if I do say so myself. Excellent. As you can see, I was just using shock there, and my lightning spire did most of the heavy lifting. We don't really have enough room for lightning spiring here, so we'll just turn out to our trusty lightning bolts and get the work done that way. If they dare come in range, we're going to use static discharge. Excellent. Summonings is at 4. Once it gets up to about 5, that's good enough for now. Oh, and here come the bees. No problem. Thank you, Lightning Spire. Now, what's invaluable as a... anybody else? There we go. Now we have to turn to something else since there's a sky beast there. Wand of Fire should do it. Summoning's up to 5. We'll drop it. Let's get some charms and see what happens to our spells if we put that buckler back on. That's workable, and it will get better the more shields we have. Okay, so that is level 7. We should be running into Orcish Mines and Lair territory fairly soon. It's not quite early enough to get concerned about invisible horrors. I'm just using shock and letting the lightning spire do most of the work there. And let's do the same thing here. Beautiful work, lightning spire. It generally won't shoot at you, and I'm not quite sure if it will shoot at you if you're resistant to air, or resistant to shock, or whatever it's called. So try to stay out of its way. Now normally I'd be killed almost instantly by these bees. By a bee, well, at least I'd try to run or get into a better position. But because of the lightning spire, I could take them on in the open like that. Let's just... Okay, there we go. Charms is up to 3. Our Cif Muna piety is going up a little bit. It is a little slow since we're not training a lot of spells. But we need defense. Once shields gets up to 5, we can turn it off. And it's actually worse wearing armor, I believe. Let's just test that. So lightning bolts at 12 now. If we put on our robe here, lightning bolts at 10, so it makes it a little more difficult wearing the leather armor, but we do have a little more armor class. If we could find a +1 or 2 robe, it would be worth swapping out for that. Here's an orc pack. We don't really have to be too concerned now because of the lightning spire. What we do have to watch out for is invisibility. We still have no way to see invisible creatures. And that's sky beasts. I used static discharge there, by the way, which is getting quite powerful. Charms can go up to 4, then it can stop for now. Alright, I hate you guys, so I'm just going to kill you as efficiently as possible. Fortunately, this fellow is a lot more dangerous. Luckily, we had our lightning spire. This lightning spire is making this run a lot easier. If I didn't have it, I would have +1 buckler beats +0. Let's drop that. If I didn't have the lightning spire, I'd have to work with lightning bolt a lot more, which would more or less be the same thing, except I'd have to be more conscious of my mana. But here's where the lightning spire really shines in pack situations like this. Let's turn our attention to one of these other kobolds. Now that they're in melee range, I'm going to change to static discharge. Well, that cleaned them up quite nicely. And I'm not even going to bother with the blowgun. Yeah, actually I will, just in case. I guess I'll go up and get those 19 needles. It's just always good to have another option. Ow. I have draining, huh? Well, you can drain me all you want. And let's charge at it with the axe. Ah, okay, he's dead. Another option. Always comes in handy in crawl. Alright, here we have one of those levels where both the downstairs and the upstairs are in one location. So let's just be a little careful. Oh, a book. Lightning spire, please. Excellent. Always good just to slowly clear out the area around the staircase. And we have found a book of air. I believe that makes 2. It's actually useless. I don't need to pick it up. I just can't help myself. Sometimes you just have to pick up books. Alright, I've got the barbs. I don't think I have actually demonstrated this yet. But the barb effect is somewhat dangerous. You shouldn't move if you have barbs. It hurts. Oh. Speaking of hurts, he has to die. What other options do I have? Fire. Good. We'll continue to use fire. No. Potion of curing. Static discharge. Static discharge. Static discharge. Okay. Barbs have gone away. We'll eat his corpse. Ooh, that was close. That was a very poor lightning spire. Usually they do a lot more work than that. I probably should have ordered him to attack. Wasted a turn doing that. I'm not sure if it's effective with lightning spires, but alright. Get the priest first. I used my own lightning bolt there. And I didn't realize you could do this, but I was just using static discharge. Oh no, it's fan art. Let's get out of here. I was using a static discharge next to my lightning spire. So the lightning spire must be immune, which is quite nice. Okay, here we are at level 9. I don't think we have found the Orcish mines or the lair. We have not. But we've collected a nice bunch of things here. And let's test out these wands. And I think I'll leave the video here for now. As soon as we kill these yaks. Ow. It'd be kind of funny if I actually died here now. There's a lot of yaks. I'm out of magic too. How did that happen? First thing I'm going to do is haste myself in case I have to get away. Now we're going to go with the Wand of Lightning because that is a damaging wand and it's also my most useless wand. Since I can cast the spell myself. Now we're going to run. Until we can at least cast another lightning spire. And we'll continue to use our wand. Oops. I accidentally hasted the yak. Not a good idea. And I finished him off with my hand axe. Okay, good. Let's rest up. Alright, there we go. Now we can leave the video. Actually, let's just identify as many of these potions as we can, and we only have one identify scroll, which is bad. Let's just identify the other scrolls, enchant armor. What do we want to enchant? Let's enchant the buckler. Enchant weapon 1, sure. Enchant the blowgun. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Sorry my voice is sounding a little different. I'm still recovering from the flu, but we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.